Welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV drama series. Today's drama story is about Legend, by the way. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. This is the story about someone I spent some time doing content with, until a couple of months ago. Someone whose name used to be Zevin. I'm gonna say it like Zevin. It's basically 7 with a Z. Zevin grabs popcorn. Yes, make sure you have your drinks and food. Zevin was part of a cross-world link shell separate from my usual friend group. In this link shell, there were several people from Aether that liked running raids and trials for mounts, or just daily roulettes and PvP. Essentially, a group for content. Sounds like a lovely little link shell. Zevin boasted about his greatest achievement in the game, having all the weapons from Uwu and Yukob. In case you happen to be someone who didn't know, Uwu and Yukob are 2 ultimate raids in Final Fantasy XIV. However, Zevin was the kind of guy who seemed to collect vulnerability stacks and never knew where to stand for most mechanics when the content was recent. Even if it was for casual content like normal raids, dungeons, and trials. Oh, you see people in the chat. Now, about the link shell. People in this group were a little snarky and would make rude jokes sometimes. Every time Zevin was hit by a mechanic, someone in chat would say, "Legend, by the way." At first, this wasn't an issue and was just playful teasing, but after a couple of days, it started to get him. One night, when we were in voice call for Euphrosyne, he died to Haloni's freezing attack. With so many vulnerability stacks, it was impossible to keep him alive. Right after that, someone said, "Legend, by the way." My god, he must be so sick of hearing that already. That night, in voice call, Zevin snapped. "You're all just jealous because you will never achieve what I have. I don't play casual content seriously. I turn my brain off. That's it." The person who said "Legend, by the way" to Zevin sheepishly chuckled and apologized. Sorry. We finished the rest of the roulettes and nobody really talked about it after that. I started to think about Zevin's performance. He never reacted to new mechanics properly. It seemed to me he wasn't so good with his environmental awareness. A lot of dungeon mechanics are very intuitive. Sometimes you can just tell or know what is going to happen if you just look around, even if you've never seen the mechanic before. Yeah, that's pretty true. Like for dungeons and like sometimes alliance raids too. You just like look and be like, "Oh, I think I get it." I pointed out the same thing to my boyfriend, who is also an ultimate raider with all the Uwu weapons. He told me something similar, that sometimes he too turns off his brain for casual content. He admitted that he is not the intuitive type of player, but the type that relies on memory and repetition until doing things almost automatically. He said he didn't always pay attention to his surroundings and sometimes tunnel visions into focusing on his rotation and dealing damage because he knows most mechanics won't actually kill him with his best in slot gear. I think he was telling me all this as a way of proposing that Zevin could be a similar type of player too, which was a pretty good theory. I consider myself a mid-core player. I always give it my all, no matter what content I am playing. Whenever I do roulettes with my hardcore raider friends, They do sometimes get hit by mechanics because they know it isn't going to kill them, and it's not worth losing DPS over, and would rather just kill things faster while being greedy. They like to be efficient with their time and end the dungeon run quicker. I felt like I was being condescending with both my boyfriend and Zevin, so I stopped thinking about it. But in the end, it was too annoying to do anything with someone that just doesn't do mechanics. So I stopped doing dungeons with Zevin, the floor tank. After a while, Zevin left the link shell and Discord server and made his own Discord server that was for his Twitch channel. He wasn't a dedicated streamer. However, he just wanted to show his progress to his friends and whoever stumbled upon his channel. When I asked why he left, he just said he was focusing on progging the ultimate T, the Epic of Alexander. Some of his friends, me included, watched him from time to time. His stream usually had around 12 to 20 viewers watching. He felt more confident after a while and decided to stream with his camera on. And I would say he got too confident. He started to act more conceited, like looking down on other players, treating everyone who didn't do an ultimate raid as a filthy casual. He set these standards that these players weren't allowed to voice their opinions about any job, mechanic, or combat system because he didn't think they were up to his level. Every time someone said anything about those things, he'd stop, then ask, "Do you even do ultimate raids though?" Oh my god. It's like that saying when do you even lift, bro? Oh my god. Do you even ultimate, bro? The people in the link shell were more than happy to have him out, as he was becoming progressively more toxic, boasting about his weapons and flawless numbers in FF logs. But it was strange because he kept his FF logs profile private. Due to his behavior, people stopped watching him. His cocky attitude was too much for most viewers, and it left them all with a bad impression. As it would, yeah. Progression on T looked pretty smooth before I stopped watching him entirely. I never saw him playing like that while he was in the link shell. Maybe it was true that he played brain dead for casual content because it wasn't an ultimate or a savage. Although, some of Zevin's old link shell friends began thinking that there was something sus about him. And that sussery was not unfounded, as we soon discovered. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my god, what is about to happen? What do you guys think? During a weekend, Zevin and his T-Static decided to prog for 12 hours straight, and he streamed some of it. He wanted to let everyone know he was actually a good player. But a big truth was soon to be revealed. Unlucky for him, while he was drinking an energy drink on his Twitch stream, he spilled some on his keyboard. He rushed to clean it and got up quickly, but his character on stream was still moving. Dude, I just covered this recently in a video about rotation, like, bots. But oh my god, imagine being in that stream and seeing that happen. Kind of reminds me, oh my god, remember like that guy streamer who was in a wheelchair and he was getting like so many donations for his disability and stuff like that, and then he didn't think his stream was still on and he stood up from his chair and everyone was like, oh, everyone saw. So like this is the same situation, like everyone in his chat saw that he wasn't even playing. He rushed to clean it and got up quickly, but his character on stream was still moving. People noticed, but Zevin quickly cut the stream. Imagine if he was like, Clara, Clara, I'm blaming Clara. Clara did this. Oh my god. You guys will know that joke. There was about 4 or 5 viewers watching his stream. I wasn't watching because I couldn't stand him anymore, but one of our friends we had in common was watching. He quickly linked me Zevin's stream and said, "Zevin is cheating!" Curiosity made me click as fast as I could, but the stream was already offline, and I only saw the chat still typing some stuff. The messages in his chat were something like this, if I remember correctly. "Huh? You play with your mind?" One viewer said. "Bruh, who is moving your character? If it's not you, then who? Bot! You're using a bot!" Another viewer typed out in all caps. Oh my god. Turns out, the footage shown wasn't even Zevin's own gameplay. Someone or something was playing instead of him. We never knew if it was someone else using his account or if he had a plugin that played for him. I know there are plugins that do full job rotations for you and you just have to move your character to do the mechanics. And other plugins that show mechanics way before they even happen, and so on. There must be a mod that plays for you. We all know this game has some of the most unhinged mods, so a bot that does content for you doesn't seem impossible. After this, Zevin disappeared. He moved to a different server and deleted his Twitch channel. I mean, I'm sure this wasn't too much of a loss as not many people followed him and he can easily start anew under a different name. But because he moved to a server in the same region, his name was still on people's friends list, which prompted him to eventually change his name too. We did all try to report him, but we had no proof of the footage because clips weren't allowed in his Twitch channel and he didn't have VODs on. So, he was, and still to this day, unpunished. Zevin's only real loss was the price he paid for his character's transfer, the price of his name change, and losing his private house. As some time went by, we slowly forgot about Zevin and stopped talking about his little accident on his stream. He was gone, away from all of us on this server. I guess people in another server can deal with Zevin now. Eventually, the link shell just died. Nobody wanted to do content anymore. Everyone was bored, and because the Discord server and the link shell wasn't serving its purpose anymore, it just got deleted. At least some people from the link shell still keep in contact with each other and do content together. I started to do Criterion with 3 other guys from there, but Criterion is a bit too hard for me, so I just moved on to make Gil and buy the mount instead. I'm sure there's many others out there who decided to do the same thing. The mount is nice. Can you blame me? Yeah, the mount is really nice. I am really happy I have some raider friends who I get to farm extremes with for 100 totems to get the mount and weapon for all my jobs that I play. I prefer playing extreme raids over any type of other raid because I am physically and mentally challenged enough IRL. I do grind my teeth with some of the savages, but still appreciative that sometimes my raider friends, who I love by the way, can help me through it. My raider friends decided to form a static and do UU together as everyone says that is the easiest ultimate to start out with first. I wouldn't know though, but I hope they complete it. I will be rooting for them on the sideline. So, as many of us know, legend, by the way, has become a trendy saying in the game. Every time I raid in PF, I see people with ultimate weapons and titles that spend a lot of time on the floor in extreme trials, savage reclears, and even dungeons and alliance raids. When I was a sprout, I was told before that having an ultimate clear shows how good a player can be. But today, some see it as the same as a mentor crown. Just because you have it doesn't mean you're good at the game. But if you're not good at the game, how did you get such an accomplishment? Because our plugin theory back then is actually something real now. Now that we have seen more and more since DSR was released. Sometimes these people are not even playing the game. They're just watching a bot do everything for them. Or they pay a person to go in there with their account and play for them. Yeah, sucks, but like that, we know that's a thing that happens sometimes. Sometimes also, good players can collect ultimate weapons purely for the looks on jobs they don't even know how to play. And that, my friends, is when you might see someone in the chat say, legend, by the way. The end. Hey, you know what? I'm glad we have a story like this. Predictable. You knew? You knew that the guy was a cheater the whole time? How, Scuba? You don't even play the game. You know those movies like, okay, in Mean Girls, and I also watched this in Sex Education, they did it. When all the students in the high school are like talking, like ranting and venting out to each other, and then someone chimes in and vents, and like, hey, you don't even go here. You don't even go to this school. Scuba, you don't even play this game. It's funny because I had a similar incident with my top static. There was this dude that was really rude to my static lead, and he halted our prog because he kept dying to stuff he shouldn't have. And we looked at his FF logs one day, and he had 100 parse on his machinist. Yeah, so that video that I covered recently about the parsing bots that just do your whole rotation for you, those people who usually have those aim to get 100 parse with those bots. Like, they want 100 parse. And yeah, like parsing, like when you see people's parses, it doesn't reflect on them as a player. Sometimes you'll see someone with like the most amazing parses ever, and then when you play with them, it's not quite what you expected. I'd rather not even look at FF logs. Exactly. Just judge. You can even just play with someone for a bit and you start to know them as a player. Don't even need to look at FF logs at all. It's always the legend titles when I see dead people on the ground. I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous to do my first ultimate now that I finally caught up to the current content. Hey, no, you should definitely give it a go. Don't be gate kept. Okay, I don't think anything is very, very, very hard to the point that you can't do it in this game. Like, it just takes practice, and if you realize it's not for you once you've tried, that's okay. I know people do that in my chat all the time. Like, whenever I stream a game, they're like, oh my god, this is so hard though. You're not ready for it. Oh my god. You know, certain lines like that or something. It's so hard. You won't even imagine how hard it is. So I'm like preparing for the worst. And then when I go there, I'm like, oh, it's not so bad. It's not that bad. Okay, I understand, I think, why people do it a little bit, because a lot of things that you learn for your job or how to like become a better raider in general are not inside the game. The game doesn't do a good job with teaching you those things. It has to come from yourself if you want to learn more things. So like you go into those discords, the balance, and you start learning more about your job, your rotation. It comes from you. So I think that's why people are like, you're not ready, or like, it's so hard, because it's like, you need that motivation for yourself first to want to be better. But yeah, I always tell people, try it out, you know, go for it, try it out. And same with like streaming. If someone in my chat wants to stream, I was like, oh my god, try it out. LMAO, literally what happened with me with raiding in this game is really hard. Then finding out was actually easier than I thought. Exactly. That's why you gotta try everything. But I also have like a similar experience to this story where like I used to raid with a bunch of people. I think over some time, like after raiding with them for a bit, like I found out that one person actually used CactBot, and then I think other people told me like they also used CactBot, and then once I found, I was like, what is that? Like, what is CactBot? And then they told me, they explained it, and then they were like, you should use it. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to play the game how it's meant to be played. But like, it did throw me off because I really thought it's so weird because it's like, it just, that moment of you finding out that your friends actually use a mod or a plugin or whatever for raiding, it's almost makes you feel like, wow, I really thought that was you the whole time though. Like, I thought that was just you playing the game without any mods and stuff like that. You know, it's like, it's a little shocking. So I guess the same with the OP in the story, like finding out that he actually used all those things and he was playing with the guy. It was just like, whoa, I had no idea. Like, I'm not the type of person, like, if you want to use those things, just know that it's not allowed in the game, first of all, disclaimer. But it's up to the player's choice. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, I hate you now, you know. It's not like that. Like, it's up to you guys, whatever. But I personally would feel like this is my challenge for myself, and I want to play the game how it's meant to be played. Like, because I understand there's people out there who say like, I use these things because of internet connection, I use these things because, you know, I have a hard time playing savages. I'm not gonna like dislike them or anything like that. It's just, I know what I want for myself, and that's it. I feel like the only thing that can get that you can get mad at people using Cacbot is if they're still messing up mechanics. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know what to do at that point. If they're still messing up with the plugins, you're cheating and you're still bad. Like, oh, I don't know. It's such a weird area. Like, we all know this happens, and we all like, there's like, that's the part that I just don't like sometimes, is that there's so much cheating in the game, and like, I personally don't like it. But what can you do? What can you do? Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this Final Fantasy XIV drama story. If you have any of your own drama stories that you'd like me to share and read out anonymously, feel free to reach out to my Discord, discord.gg/Pathra.